To the regularly scheduled public meeting of May 15th, 2023 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilwoman Feeney. Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President Morgan.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Administrator DeCarlo, Township Attorney Poller, and Township Clerk Bukowski. Councilwoman Feeney had a family emergency and will try to make it later this evening, but if not, we understand. Tonight's PSA, new community alert system. Receive community information instantly. Sign up at nixle.com. That's NIXLE.com. The New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission unit came to the township on May 1st. 37 transactions were conducted. Those included 34 real IDs, 1 driver license, and 1 registration. 7 license plates were surrendered. Those are not included in this count. Thank you to Bethany for hosting the event. The DPW is looking for 2 to 3 part-time seasonal workers to start as soon as possible, up to 29 hours a week, regular driver's license, and must be 18 years old at a minimum. Please visit our website for further information. The police department is looking for crossing guards. Please visit our website for further information. American flag giveaway. Flags will be handed out to township residents while supplies last in front of Town Hall on Pascack Road. Just pull into the Veterans Circle to receive your flag between 4:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. Old flags will also be collected at this event for proper disposal. Flags are donated by the VFW Post 6192. We remind residents to please pick up after their pet. It is the law. Township Code 137-19. Scoop it, bag it, and put it in the trash. Cameras have been installed in our parks. As a friendly reminder, dumping of household waste in our parks' trash cans is in direct violation of Township Ordinance 373-89. Violators will be fined. Please keep our parks and neighborhood clean. The deadline to register to vote for the June 6, 2023 primary election is Tuesday, May 16th. The clerk's office will be open until 9 p.m. The Township of Washington Ambulance Corps is looking for volunteers. If you can volunteer, please call WTVAC headquarters at 201-664-3784. Leave a message and either President Bob Ehlers or Captain Trevor Landau will return your call. On Saturday, June 3rd at 9:30 a.m., we will have the next Green Team cleanup and planting. This will take place by the bridge over the brook off of Cleveland Ave. Memorial Day Parade is Monday, May 29th, starting at 10 a.m. The parade begins at Clinton Ave, down to Washington Ave, and finally concluding on Pascack Road in front of Town Hall. The ceremony will begin shortly following the parade. We are still looking for convertible cars to drive our veterans, so if you are interested, please contact Councilwoman Velez at publicaffairs@twipofwashington.us. So public affairs at twpofwashington.us. And finally, a reminder, our free summer concert will take place Friday, June 16th at Memorial Field. Gates will open at 6:30 and the show starts at 7:30. This concert will be starring Big Hicks. They are a country band, so enjoy. A special council meeting will be held on Monday, May 22nd, 2023. We will be introducing the 2023 budget. I'm sorry, adopting, it says introduction, sorry. At 6:30. Yep.
Yep, next Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, adopting, sorry about that. May 22nd, 6:30. Okay. We have an approval of minutes. November 9th, 2022, public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Well, I'll do both of them together because I'm going to abstain from both. So November 9th, 2022, public meeting, and November 9th, 2022, conference meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney is absent. Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
yes,
Council President Morgan?
Abstain. December 5th, 2022, public meeting. December 5th, 2022, conference meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
yes,
Council President Morgan?
Yes. December 19th, 2022, public meeting and conference meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll-
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
yes,
Council President Morgan?
Yes. January 3rd, 2023, sign-die meeting, and January 3rd, 2023, reorganization meeting.
So moved.
second, oh,
Second.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
yes,
Council President Morgan?
Yes. January 17th, 2023, public meeting and conference meeting.
So moved.
second,
Sorry, hold on, the cursor's not getting down.
It's okay.
Hello.
Can you move it for me, actually? I'm tired.
Sure.
I'm exhausted.
Sorry about that.
Mhm.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
yes,
Council President Morgan?
Yes. February 6th, 2023, public meeting and conference meeting.
so moved,
Second.
Sue, roll call, please.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
yes,
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Okay, we're moving on to mayor appointments.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome.
Good evening, members of the public, Council President, members of the council. Please be advised that I am appointing the following citizen for the position set forth below. Mayor's alternate to the Library Board of Trustees, Joanne Greco, term expiring December 31st, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. DeCarlo?
Thank you,
Administrator.
Council President. My response to council and residents from the meeting on May 1st, 2023. First was a resident concern, Mr. Sabino, concerns of property maintenance violations on East Glen Avenue. On April 11, 2023, zoning officer Joe Sedekase became aware that the property owner on East Glen Avenue, the block and lot is referenced in my memo, cut down a total of 9 trees that were supposed to remain on the property as per Planning Board Resolution PB-23-08. Mr. Sedekase issued a summons for violation of Chapter 465-6, trees, on April 12, 2023, with a court date of April 20, 2023. Property owner appeared in court requesting adjournment due to the proposed penalty of $27,000. On May 2, 2023, Code Enforcement Officer Dino DiVirgilio initiated an additional property maintenance violation for the property on East Glen Avenue. After a conference call with Mr. Pauler, zoning officer Joe Sedekase, and myself, the plan has been formulated to address the violations appropriately. Several complaints of speeding on various roads were made, one by Councilman Sears, speeding complaint on Beach Street and Colonial Drive, a resident Eugene Greco, speeding complaint on Clinton Avenue, Ms. Lipnick, speeding complaint on Finnerty Place, Mr. Proto, general speeding in school zones, and Nicole Vogel, speeding on Ridgewood Boulevard East. These violations have been brought to the attention of Chief Skinner. Chief Skinner has requested that we obtain more information from residents with traffic-related concerns so the police may address the concern more accurately. I have prepared a simple form, if we may have council meetings, for residents to fill out. And thank you, Council President. The forms are on the table in front of us. So if we do get any traffic complaints to be forwarded to the chief, it has enough information to help the police department get back in touch with the residents. And then I would suggest if it's up to you, Council President, perhaps inviting the Chief of Police at a certain point to give his update. Mr. Scalia, Joe Scalia requested some type of flashing signals that alert to the crosswalks at the intersection of Amherst Drive and Pascack Road and Ridgewood Boulevard East and Pascack Road. There is a similar device at School Street and Pascack Road. Chief Skinner has been aware of this request and concern. Chief Skinner has informed me that Sergeant Mike Glock has made the concern known to the county. There is an update on this. The police department and the county acted very quickly, which I commend them for, but they're not in favor of adding the flashing signs like in School Street. There is requirements established in the manual for uniform traffic control devices that don't allow for it. However, they did erect crosswalk ahead signs right at both intersections at Amherst and Ridgewood Boulevard East. Sergeant Glock also conducted a 3-year crash history for Pascack Road. There was a total of 126 crashes, with 75 of them being very minor crashes that occurred in parking lots. The remaining speed was not a factor for any one of them. Make sure I have all that. Chief Skinner also informed me they will be conducting a speed survey in regards to the speeding concern on Pascack Road. Mrs. Dugali, concerns of people curbing their dogs. Our website and social media managers shared information regarding the pick up after your dog ordinance on the website and Facebook as a friendly reminder to our residents. I believe it was also tweeted out as well. Mr. Snee complimented the fentanyl presentations and asked if the presentations can be recorded and shown at later dates. The DEA was providing 2 presentations at the library on Monday the 8th, one at 1 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. Unfortunately, federal regulations do not allow the DEA program to be filmed. However, Laura Rifkin is trying to connect with WCTV with a public relations DEA agent to do an interview about fentanyl. Ms. Rifkin reports that it's looking positive so far and hopes to have more info soon. Ms. Lipnick, completion of the plantings on Finnerty Place, the DPW purchased the remainder of the bushes, and they met with Mr. Sears today to go over the planting and the locations of them. Mrs. Grimaldi inquired as to the restrictions of our sign ordinance, especially that it relates to temporary lawn signs. Council has requested Mr. Pollard review the ordinance and make any necessary recommendations. Council concerns or questions. Councilman Cascio requested current fund balance. The current fund balance is $1,509,209. I also include an attachment of our 10-year history of current fund surplus. I checked with our financial advisor, and only the 1-year tax revaluation may be funded outside of the budget. All the other options we discussed must be funded through the budget process. Councilman Sears, a purchase order has been completed for the planting of the trees and removal of the stumps at Clark Field. Under updates, the scoreboard for Gardner Field has been installed, which I think you're all aware of. And additionally, I'm sure you're also aware of, but the mayor and I are happy to inform the council and the public that the intersection at Washington and Pascack has finally been paved. They did most of the striping today. They just have to, complete some minor stuff in the remainder of the striping. And really pleased to advise that the parking lot at the Emergency Services Building has finally been paved as well. Today they were there doing, some landscaping, erecting the signs that govern the inside of the parking lot, and they'll be due striping this week and finish the remainder of the cleanup there. Council President, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. There's a lot of really good stuff happening, so thank you. Okay. I have one question real quick. You mentioned allowing police chief to update. Do you mean just how often? What does that look like?
I guess that would probably be a decision maybe the mayor and council president can make, but I thought it'd be rather, more professional for the chief to report on things that the police department are doing.
Okay.
Not that I'm refusing, but.
Oh, yeah. No. I just.
Will the council be, I'm sorry, the council president, may
No.
I ask? Will the council be advised of the police reports that the residents are giving, so we could do a follow-up to make sure they're being addressed?
Yes, the plan was for the information that's given here at the council meeting.
And did the police look into speeding signs, not flashing, but warning signs on Pascack telling them to slow down? Did they look into those? Do you know?
In regards to the crosswalks,
Yes.
well, the county did put up the signs at the crosswalks alerting drivers that there's a crosswalk there, a crosswalk coming.
Yep.
The county has declined putting the flashing signs at those locations.
I understand the flashing, but the ones that tell you you're speeding, slow down.
I think that's the flashing, right? Is that what you're talking about or no?
With that, that's
No.
not the flashing.
I
know,
don't,
'cause
we
it's
never
ones that are-
discussed that I remember ones that actually show your speed.
Yeah,
More what's at School Street now where it's, it's like the crosswalk sign, but there's a lot of
Mhm.
flashing around it.
okay.
So to answer or to clarify, so I understand it, the ones that show your speed, you haven't discussed putting up there yet?
No, I
Oh,
never knew that was a question. I'm sorry if I
Okay.
missed that.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's a really good,
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's an
yeah.
alternative
To the
to
flashing.
warn them to slow down.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. DeCarlo.
Yep, thank you. Great report. Okay, to participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. If by phone, star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to unmute. Each person wishing to address the council shall give his or her name for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time with a 5-minute time limit. Speakers are to direct all questions to the council president. All members of the public and council are expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner, and any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted, and the council president will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments. Motion to open public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is there anybody online that would like to speak?
Not at this moment.
No hands up? Okay. Anybody would like to come up? Yes, come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Julianne Lipnick. I don't know if you are aware, but Sunday, May 14th through Saturday, May 20th is known as National Police Week. I felt compelled to come before you today to speak on behalf of National Police Week. It is a week dedicated to honor the men and women in law enforcement who put their lives on the line every day to keep our communities safe. And why I'm here is to tell you, and Chief Skinner, that you run a great police department. Recently, well, for quite some time, I should say, we have been harassed at our home. And if it weren't for the due diligence of the following officers, and that was Police Officer Osenbrook, Corporal Ferrarini, and I hope I'm saying it correct, newly hired Police Officer O'Hanlon, and also Police Officer Sinatra. These officers came up to the plate to help us out and stayed on top of it, patrolling our area. And I'm proud to say thank you, because as of Sunday morning, we captured the assailants, or whatever you want to call them. And both my husband and I are grateful, because what started out as a practical joke could have been very tragic. And again, they wouldn't know what goes on behind closed doors, but it could have been extremely tragic for my husband. I never want to see that situation arise again. So to you and to our police officers, we thank you for your service, and we thank you for helping us out, and keep up the good work. Also, Councilman Cassia, that blurb about the property search alert, thank you. It has gone out. I can't begin to tell you how many people, myself included, have signed up for that, because it is really a great service, because to do it with the company that is trying to get your dollars to sign up for the alert, it's very costly. So thank you for bringing us that to our attention. And Councilwoman Velez, that is the biggest legacy box I have ever seen in my life. The ones I've seen are maybe a little bit bigger than the podium. So it's a pleasure to dump books in there. Little by little, the basement's getting empty. Thank you again, and again, thank you for our police stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will share that for sure with Police Chief Skinner, and so I'm sure Mr. Mayor will as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and can I just make another quick comment?
Yeah.
Julie, about the book bin. In Washington Township, we go big or we go home. And just, Mrs. Litnick and I spoke about the incident in her house. I just want to say, for two of the youth, it sounded like they got a good teaching moment out of it. And I'll leave it at that. But if you want to come back up and say anything.
Well, there is something I did neglect to say.
Oh, come on up.
We all know that our First Amendment rights of freedom of speech are being attacked all over the country. Mine are no different. I had a fentanyl sign out on my lawn that was given to us by the library, and it was pulled out of my lawn. The metal holder was thrown onto the grass. The sign is gone. So I went to the library because my camera did not pick up the perpetrator. My tree was blocking it. So I went to the library today and had an in-depth conversation because they had them outside on their lawn as well. And the library's missing their signs too.
Oh,
I found the metal stand just thrown in the parking lot. The cardboard sign itself is gone. So they are well aware of it. Our block has just become like, literally, I don't even know what I can call it anymore. It's no longer a fun house, that's for sure. But we had a great conversation about it and some other things that they too have experienced. I invite you to go and talk to them to find out because it's getting more and more frightening. And in my case, my assailants were only 10 years old. So that scares me. And to do what they did at 11 o'clock at night, what are 10-year-olds doing out at 11 o'clock at night? Scary. So I leave that up to you.
thank you. I'm sorry for whatever it was that you experienced, and hopefully they did learn. You said it was a teachable moment for them, so.
It was, yeah.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to come up?
Hi, I'm Nicole Kernberg. I'd like to say, Mr. DiCarlo, you spoke about how the county was going to be placing the pedestrian signs at every intersection. I live on the corner of Pascack and Manhattan. I get it all. I see it all. The speeding is really rampant. And not only that, there's not one crosswalk sign, any 4 direction. And it's been like that for years now. So I don't know if they're saying that they're there, but they're not. So, we have people late at night overtaking each other. Like when along lines, we have people crossing over the double yellow, zooming past like the doghouse where people may be pulling out. And it's going to be a major accident. We've had major accidents. I've had people drive up my front lawn. It happens, and it's dangerous and it's scary. So the speeding is a bit ridiculous, especially in a business center.
Okay.
I believe we should be reducing the speed limit to at least 30, where, yes, cars are going slowly. You have senior citizens entering, exiting, kids coming down on their bikes, flying down Manhattan,
Yeah.
sliding out. I see it all. And I would just like to add on and say, we need to be safe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I direct her to the form to pick up the form and
That would be great.
right?
Yeah, that'd be
Let's
great.
put it to use.
Yeah, so before you came, there's a form that has been created that we're asking you can speak to it because I don't want to say
No, that's great.
anything
If you
wrong.
don't mind if I just,
Yeah, come on
Sure.
up, you can grab it.
it's just biographical information, just a brief
Yeah,
description
sure.
of the
Absolutely.
complaint that you
Trying to
made.
keep the kids safe.
But if I can just clarify, if I did say it incorrectly, it wasn't every intersection. It was just the intersection of Amherst and Ridgewood Boulevard East, where there already is crosswalks. At the
Okay.
crosswalks, they put yellow caution signs indicating that they're there. Is there a crosswalk actually at your?
There
intersection?
should be, it's a main
Right. so
cross.
If you.
There is, it's faded, it needs to be
Yeah.
repainted. I assume when they redo the intersection, they will. But there's not one sign denoting that this is our major town center, this is where we cross. Everyone crosses there. Mr. Mayor, I've seen you cross there, we all do. And especially our children, they're coming down on their bikes, they want to be safe. Let's keep them safe. Like, a lot of times I'm sitting out there and I'm, no, don't go.
Right, right.
It's almost as if the light cycle is too short for like all the people that want to make their lefts and right and then have a pedestrian or a kid on a bike cross. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. That's good information.
No.
Council
what
President,
does
do you
she
mind
do
if I
with-
just finish up?
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
So the police department are already working on the speeding complaints, but please feel free to add that. But if you could definitely put regarding the crosswalk in Manhattan, because I was only focusing on what was brought up by the other residents. So that was just Amherst and Ridgewood Boulevard East.
And where do they bring that? Or what do they do?
They can give it to me, and then
Okay.
I'll summarize it, and I'll give it, well, not summarize it, I'm gonna keep, if there's more, 1, 2, 5 tonight,
Okay.
I'll send them to the police department.
So they fill it out here right now?
Phil, if they could,
Okay.
and give it to me before they leave, that would be great.
All right. If you don't want to do it now,
No,
as it's,
just have extra pen.
you can borrow, you can take mine. I have another.
Council President,
Yes.
can I just address her? Regarding the timing of, you're talking about the timing of light at Manhattan and Pascack, right? A few years back, Rose D'Ambro brought that to our attention, how quick it is. And there's not enough time. And I believe the time that we had to go to the county, since it's a county operation, they were going to investigate either, or adjust the time in some fashion. But I don't know if they ever did or they did not. So I'll ask the council president if we can look into that, talk to the county again. But that was brought to our attention quite a few years ago. And it is kind of quick for going east to west.
So your
As opposed-
question is revisit the,
Revisit the
The
timing with the
counties.
county, yeah. Timing
Yeah,
with the
I
county.
think it's best if we have the police reach out to the. county.
Someone, I don't
Yeah.
care. Doesn't matter who
Few
reaches
notes.
out.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever adjusted, to my knowledge, so.
so Mr. DeCarlo, will you then give that message to Chief Skinner, or do you want me to send, you do, okay. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to come up? I missed it.
Stop you in your tracks.
A little senile. Michael Ullman.
Okay.
There was some heavy equipment moved on Van Emberg across from IHA at the property, I guess, commonly referred to as the Viviano property. And it was a tracked vehicle, and there's some damage to the street. So I was just wondering if someone could go look at that. My other question regarding that is, I believe they're on a farmland exemption, and this piece of equipment seems much too large to harvest some wood. So are they doing site prep, and does that site prep nullify the farmland exemption? Additionally, if they're harvesting wood as their primary crop, do they have to register with the town to cut down those trees per the new ordinance? I wanted to address something that I read on social media. Is it true that our traffic details,
Sorry. 1 second. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
do I get that
Traffic
time
detail.
back?
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
Is it true that traffic details?
that the traffic detail for the intersection received $180 per hour, and that it was paid for by the utilities. It was my understanding that that was one of the few things that the township was responsible for. So if we could just clarify that.
Do you want to stop and try to get some answers?
Sure,
Okay, all right,
whatever you want.
all right. Well, I know we have a dialogue, so this is,
Yes, well, I don't want to run out of time.
no, we stopped you.
This is the softballs.
We stopped you. This is
Okay.
the what?
These are the softballs,
Oh. All right, keep throwing. We'll answer them all in one shot.
Okay. So I guess my next question is the access control for the emergency service building. The township received a $20,000 credit. I believe it's line 212 or item 212 of the summary that we receive. And then there's an $80,000 charge from a company to put in that access control. And I requested information regarding that, specifically quotes that we received. And we did not receive any quotes. We didn't go out for bid. And at $80,000, I would have assumed that that type of project would require a bid. So why didn't it go out for a bid? I did notice that the company is part of the Hunterdon Co-op. However, we haven't been part of that co-op for a number of years, so I don't understand, if we're not part of the co-op, how we can take advantage of that, if that's what we actually did. And I was just wondering how much we're getting back for the parking lot at the emergency service building. What type of credit are we getting back? And the reason I ask that is I had, I guess there was a meeting held around March 6th, and Mr. DiCarlo gave an update regarding parking, the monument, the Red House, and we had some dialogue on it. And I questioned if the plan was outdated. And a new plan was provided to me and was put on the township's website. And that includes parking around or parking on the Red House, the abandoned or vacant lot.
1 minute left, Mr. Ullman.
And we didn't go anywhere near that. There's nothing, there's no grading, there's no site prep, there's nothing. So I'm assuming if the plan shows it and it wasn't done, we should be getting money back. So I'm wondering how much money are we getting back? And the last question I have is Washington Avenue is a county road, and I believe the county did the whole cross county, and they didn't do Washington Township because of the intersection and the emergency service building and any number of other reasons. But now that that's done and the intersection is complete, we're very happy that the intersection is done, but what about the rest of Washington Avenue? Because it seemed to me it was promised, it was part of a plan, and then it was continually deferred.
Okay. Is that his timer?
Yes.
Okay. You can finish real quick.
That was just
Oh,
at the
that-
bell.
Oh, you see, you timed it.
Yes.
Perfect.
I've been working on that.
All right. Good job. All right, so here come the answers. Who wants to start?
I'll take.
Would you like me to?
Let him go first.
Okay.
We're well aware of the damage that was done to Van Emberg. The police responded this afternoon and are writing a report for us to follow up on. I'm not aware of the $180 or where you got that information from. However, I would strongly contest any information that's given on social media. I can tell you their rate is nowhere near $180.
I agree.
I had some email correspondence with the superintendent of county roads and the remainder of Washington Avenue from where the intersection project stopped to at least the Parkway entrance off-ramp is due for 2024. The extended portion of what I think Mr. Ullman's talking about over at the Emergency Services Building is the commuter lot. The commuter lot was not bid as part of the Emergency Services Building project, so the contractor TechCon is not responsible for it. However, I think in doing a professional job, they did the site plan altogether for the parking for the Emergency Services Building and the commuter lot and the monument. So we are not receiving a refund. However, half the work is done for now when we go to do the commuter parking lot. So Boswell Engineer has been contracted with. They provided us a proposal, which we signed. It's well underway that we're hoping should be done rather soon. It then goes to the county for their review, and then it'll be ready for bidding. So I don't want to throw numbers out, but if let me see how I can give this. So a portion of the job is already completed, the site plan. So we got what would be a reduced fee for the completion of that project. So even though we're not getting money back, a good portion of the work was done because they had to design the whole thing at once, not just ESB and then the commuter lot. I forget what the other ones. I know I'm not going to be able to answer about the equipment on the Viviano property. I'm sure Mr. Pollard will with that. Mr. Ullman, if I forgot anything or missed it, you can remind me.
I have one question. I think he also asked as a caveat to the 180, did the utility company pay for that detail, right? Did you ask that question?
Yes.
I'd have to check. I'll have to check. I don't want to just give an answer that's incorrect or just to throw something out there, but I'll have to check. I mean, it depends. It depends is that answer, but the gist of that Connie project, I don't know.
Okay. So
You know, there was utility work there. There was actual electric wires. There was, there was Verizon. There was Veolia.
So is could it be a combination of some
It could,
people
yes.
we
And
put there and
I'll have
other
to check
people?
on that, but it definitely was nowhere near $180 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that to say the town would not have paid $180. If a utility paid that, that's on them, but the town would not have paid an officer $180 for that work.
Okay. And then Mr. Pollard.
Yeah, I'll do it. On the Viviano property, the developer is doing geotechnical work. They
Ken. Oh,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
speak.
Microphone, please.
Sorry.
hear me now?
Tap it.
Okay. The developer is doing geotechnical work on the property, and that does not trigger the change in the farmland assessment. The actual use of the property is the thing that triggers it. Now, I have been in touch with the assessor, and she's right on top of it, and I explained the whole situation, and she's going to monitor it very closely. But it's the actual use of the property, the change in use, that triggers the change in the farmland assessment.
So doing construction on it?
Doing construction does not do it. The use of the property, using it. Building does not do it.
Okay. Thank you.
The other thing with the permits, when they changed their status to farmland status, they fell under the New Jersey State Forestry. So they can harvest their trees, but every year they have to report what is called a WD 214 to the tax assessor. And under that form, it has to tell them how much they harvest, how much is still there, and they have to sell at least, I believe it was $1,000 worth of wood. So if they're not doing that and that's not under their tax status now, then that could be removed. And they lose that tax status as a farm woodland.
And would there be any follow-up on the access control project? And
Yes,
the fact
we
that
were just discussing it. It predates Mark, and I just don't remember, so we'll look into it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to come up? Anyone on? Yeah, there's a couple hands. Who's first?
Who's up first?
Who is it? Okay. Thank you. Hello, on the phone?
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, this is William Ferrara. Good evening. I wanted to call, I heard the earlier discussion about the parking situation. I didn't hear the whole thing, but I wanted to bring up a parking situation that exists on Cleveland Avenue. On opening day, the police restrict parking to one side of the street during opening day. However, there are a number of times when we have a number of baseball games, and I think it's, quite frankly, a lot of times when it's out-of-town teams come, where there's parking on both sides of the street, and it's the same situation that exists on opening day. Yesterday, there was that situation existed. They used my driveway as a turnaround. They back into my driveway and turn around, and there was no police presence. So basically, it comes down to where there's one lane going down the street, and yesterday, when I was coming south on Cleveland, somebody opened their door who was on the park side of the street, in the street, and I nearly took his door off. So I think that they should be restricting parking on one side of the street there during the entire baseball season. I know it inconveniences people, but it's be a much safer situation. The second thing I wanted to bring up, I had driven up by, and I see you have on the agenda the sidewalk meeting about at Washington School. I'll just make it brief. I don't know how you can allow parking on both sides of School Street when you expect children to cross the street when cars are coming down the street who pulled out of Wayne Place or White Birch. I think that's a very dangerous situation, and I know it would inconvenience a lot of people, but I think there should only be parking allowed on the sidewalk side of the street as part of a solution. My other point, what I wanted to discuss was, you have under the request for a quote from the auditors, so I don't know what the response is, but I just want to point out, and I had brought this up, and I think I requested that you consider an ordinance that requires that the auditor, whoever it is, come to a public meeting, provide a summary of the financial results and his comments and recommendations at a public meeting. I know Lurch Vinci is the auditor for the Board of Education, and he comes every year and they sit down in a public meeting and they discuss the results. I think the town should do the exact same thing. And then I had another question about the signs. It seemed to me last year, soon after Labor Day, we started seeing political signs for the Board of Education election. I know Mr. Sears brought up the issue of one sign that was too big, and I know there was a part of the code says that there's only supposed to be one sign for each candidate per piece of property. I know at least 3 homes that had up 2 to 3 signs. So I don't know who's enforcing the law, but I would suggest that any consideration be given to restricting the number of days before an election the signs can be put up to something, say 30 days, and that they have to be taken down within 10 days. So this proliferation of these signs all over the place, I think is, unsightly. So, and I have one question on the budget, and I'll wait the rest of my questions on the budget till next week, but this has to do with the group insurance. It appears on 2 separate lines. One line for $947,341, and another one called employee group insurance for $142,560. And there's no history prior to that on that line prior to this budget year. So can you explain that?
Sure.
Or Mr. DiCarlo can explain it.
Sure. Well, we're going to stop your clock for 1 second and then.
Okay.
If the council wouldn't mind, Mr. Fryer, I'd like to get back to you on that. I just don't have it in front of me. And
That's
it's not ringing a bell.
That's fine.
Thank you, sir.
You have my email address. If you send me an email, because I'm going away tomorrow, I won't be around, so don't call me. Just send me an email. Okay?
You got
Will
it.
do.
Okay. Is the clock, do I still have any time left?
Yes, you still have time. You have a minute.
Okay, I wanted to, at the last meeting, a gentleman brought up the situation with this house on East Glen that had chopped down all the trees, and the town had imposed a $27,000 fine for that, and hopefully they collect it. I was wondering if that money shouldn't be put towards the maintenance of the trees in the town, in addition to the trust fund that's been established for developers to pay in lieu of putting in new trees. Because there's a lot of trees in town that don't have to be taken down, but they have to be maintained. I know that the cherry trees that are in Clark Field that Tom and the mayor had put together a program to get them planted a number of years ago, primarily, with the exception, I think, one tree, are doing very well, to the point where they're beginning to become overgrown, and I think they should be they should be trimmed back. And I don't know where that money to do it is, but I think that kind of a fine should be used for that. So, and I think that's it for tonight.
Okay, hang on one second. Your time is
Sure.
up, but I will let Councilman Sears respond to that.
Right. Okay.
The pruning of the trees, I met with the DPW, and they're gonna go there and prune the trees and look at the trees that are in the park. We're gonna try and get there sometime this week. I'm gonna meet with them just to review it.
Okay.
It's not a lot of heavy pruning, but like anything else, it needs to be pruned back. And hopefully all the fines that are levied against the plaintiff will go towards the tree trust fund. I'm hoping that would be our goal, and I'll leave it up to the mayor.
Thank you, Tom. Put me on the
Thank
No
you.
pressure. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night. Was it? Hello? Okay, is there someone with their hand up? Hi.
Yes, me,
Oh,
Diane Grimaldi. I would just like to know, Mr. Ullman asked the question regarding the equipment that was dropped off at the Viviano's property. And Mr. Pollard responded that the developer is doing some geotechnical work. I would just like to clarify who's doing the geotechnical work, because I emailed the assessor 2 weeks ago, and as far as she knew, nobody has bought the property, and it was my understanding that the Vivianos are not the developers. The property is for sale. So who's doing the work? And do they have permits to do this work? Does the building department know about this?
okay. I'm gonna let Mr. Pollard answer. I just want to stop your time real quick. Okay.
The property is under contract for sale to K Hovnanian, and the Hovnanian Group is the one that's doing the work. And from what we know, they are the ones that are actually developing the site, that are constructing the site.
Okay, so would that, I'm sorry.
That's
Would
okay.
would that mean that the sale has gone through?
The closing itself, I don't know if the closing has taken place. I know there's a transaction. Whether the closing is going to be triggered by some other event, I am not sure. I'm not privy to it. I don't have, I'm not in on the contract, but we do know that the Hovnanian Group has taken over. And as far as my communications with them and with the attorney for the Vivianos, it's the Hovnanian Group that is moving ahead with the ultimate acquisition and development.
Okay, thank you. So there are permits in place for the work to begin?
I'm not going to say what permits are in. I'm not involved with the permits, Diane. I can only tell you that I know that they're the developer in terms of doing work. So I'm assuming that there are permits to do this thing. I know the engineers involved. So, I'm going to say that there probably are permits.
Okay. Is it possible for the public to see what kind of documentation there is?
Sure. Well, you could get anything. You could get anything that's filed with the town. You're not going to get the contract between Viviano and Hovnanian, because that's not a public document. But any
Right.
governmental record, any permits that were issued, you're entitled to all of that.
Okay. Thank you. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to come up? Or anyone online? No hands? Okay, motion to close public comment.
So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on to introduction, first reading, ordinance number 23-06, an ordinance amending the size of garages within the Township of Washington. Motion to introduce and pass
So moved.
ordinance. Okay,
Second.
roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Resolution number 23-228, authorizing publication of ordinance number 23-06 and schedule public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call, Sue, please.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Following items have been determined to have unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Is there any resolution that anybody would like removed for discussion? No. Okay. Resolution number 23-229, resolution number 23-230, resolution number 23-231, resolution number 23-232, resolution number 23-233. Motion to approve consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Sue.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. All right, we're going to adjourn to conference agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next special meeting of the Township Council will be on May 22nd, beginning at 6:30. Do I hear someone
Somebody
on the phone?
on the computer, no?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, can you cut the sound or?
Sounded like Grimaldi.
She's off.
Uh-oh.
They're muted, okay. Okay. We're going to move into current business.
That's normal. Absolutely. Okay, you have to look up, so.
So from council ordinances and legislation, chapter 194, signs.
Okay, so that's kind of with me, and I'm going to be working on that, have been working on it, and will be working on it. It's pretty complicated because we're talking about a lot of issues, looking around at a lot of different kind of ordinances, checking with the league, doing a little bit of due diligence about signs. Don't want to just throw something out there. I mean, you're talking about a lot of issues of how big signs could be, should be, how many you can do on there, can they be illuminated, under how long, as Mr. Ferrara pointed out, how long they could be there, put up, taken down, responsibility, prior authorization, permits, a lot of issues. So before we have an ordinance to take a look at and recommendations, I'm going to be working on this for a little while. Okay?
Okay.
Ken?
Yep.
I want you to look at the following regarding this, because there's obviously a lot of case law in the last couple of years regarding these signs. So,
The case law has to do with the substance of the sign.
well, that's
That-
true, but
that's-
that's also not true,
Yeah.
because, and I'll just go to the first one that I have is Reed versus Gilbert Town, which is Supreme Court,
Yeah.
which is content,
Yeah,
okay?
content, right.
And basically, they said any content is fine.
Yeah.
And there's not a time limit on the content. That's the first one. So when we talk about our ordinance, there's time limits regarding campaign signs, and there is a time issue with that one. The other one I want you to look at is Franklin Lakes, which is current. I think it's 2016. Another time limit with political signs and content. Also look at Roselle Park. They have an issue. They had a American Civil Liberties Union case with that one, and also Maplewood. So those are ones that you should look at the case law, because in New Jersey, Supreme Court came down pretty heavy on those towns,
Right.
and they decided you can't enforce some of that stuff.
Right, right.
So, ours, if you look at those other pending, I'm not even going to call litigations, issues, we are totally at odds with what the courts have found,
Well, our ordinance as it is now, correct?
as it is now.
Yeah,
So I
okay,
just,
yeah, that's gonna go out the window.
yeah, so,
So I'm not starting with that at all.
oh, I understand. I understand. I'm just saying, that's the issues
Yeah.
that I found, and they've been issues for a long time.
Yes,
And it's not just political signs, it's,
yes.
you know, when you talk about content has a very broad and overreaching
Yeah.
effect, whether it's
Yeah.
political or I don't like Ken Power, or I don't like Steve Cassio signs, right? It's a
Well,
sign.
we're gonna eliminate that as a matter of law.
Yes, as a matter of, right? But I'm just saying, those are things that we really have to
Right,
look at
right,
in
right.
depth. And again, we don't want the ACLU coming to our door. That would not be a good thing.
The way that I'm approaching it is not anything to do with content. The things that
Right.
I'm looking at are
Time.
or size,
Right.
number, things to control size. Because to be honest with you, and I wouldn't even mind having a case like this. I mean, if you put up 40 signs, if you had an ordinance that said you had X number of
Right.
signs, I mean, if you were free to put up every square inch of your line of signs and everybody in the town could do that, there's got to be a permissible limitation
Well-
on the number of signs.
There was one, if you go back to I think it was the Long Branch one, is that it was for informational and for view, because it obstructed roadways
Right,
or
right,
viewage,
right, right.
and then the town could come in and step in
Right,
and
right,
and discuss that and have an ordinance restricting that.
right, right.
Obviously, that's.
Well, also, you know, I mean, I'm not sure that people in Washington Township would like to have 75 signs on every lawn.
Right, well, again,
I mean,
no,
that's.
they wouldn't like that, but
I-
this is Washington Township, so it's a whole
Well, you know how
other
special
thing.
Washington
Poller.
Township is.
No, yes, well, we have many of them. So
Sorry.
that's just the issue that
Yes.
we looked into,
Yeah,
and
that's why I'm approaching it
slowly.
slowly
And deliberately.
and not, it's not like doing a,
No,
a driveway ordinance type thing. It's really, it's has complicated issues and you have to balance
sure.
them.
And those are the cases that are
Right.
sticklers that you
Right.
should look at, so you don't
Exactly.
avoid their,
Yep.
go back down the same road that they've already gone.
Okay. All right, and then we're going to move to number 2, which is to delay 4th round affordable housing. Mayor?
Thank you. Yeah, this is something that we talk about almost every meeting we have of the Pascack Valley Mayors Association, how this fair share housing is just getting worse and worse and, beyond our control. And so we believe that, the reasons in this sample ordinance that the association came up with are all valid reasons to say, because of COVID, because of a number of other things, that we really need to push off the 2025 current deadline out to 2028. So I believe all the mayors in the Pascack Valley are asking their councils to approve this resolution in support of these bills that are before the New Jersey State Assembly. So I'm just asking our council to please do the same. Thank you.
Was there a
I
resolution in
think
the
we should
packet?
do it.
I know.
Yeah.
How do we just do
Just
it?
use a resolution, and Sue can just change the town and it'll
Okay.
she has a form for
So
it.
we don't do it.
You'll
have to-
enact it at the next meeting.
The next meeting.
Oh.
Okay. How does everyone feel about that? Yeah?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, great. All right. So you have our support. Sue, you're making a note of that? Okay, great.
But it's a good showing.
All right, so then we're going to move to financials, review of RFQ submissions for auditor. Did the council have an opportunity to compare and look and come up with any ideas? I have mine, but,
I did.
okay. So, can we just
I'll
talk
make-
about it right here openly?
Sure. Yeah.
So I just say who I choose.
You want to make a motion for something?
Well,
Okay, yeah, I could do that in motion. I can do
well,
that.
wait till
Okay.
Daisy comes back. No, but when she comes back.
Yeah.
Daisy.
Yeah, I think it's an emergency.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Council President, maybe you want to do the sidewalks and then come
Yeah.
back?
Okay, let's do that.
That's
Yeah.
all right, just-
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go to C and we'll revisit the financials in a minute. So my update for the sidewalk meeting along with Councilman Sears, we met on, was it Tuesday? Right? It was Tuesday, okay. We met Tuesday with the committee. The committee consisted of residents who live in the surrounding area, parents and residents whose children attend the school, the Board of Ed representative, a PSO representative, and the principal of Washington School, along with the chief of police, Mr. DiCarlo and Mr. Mayor, myself, and Mr. Sears. We had a really good, thorough discussion, and several solutions were suggested, several different opportunities to look at. One person, can we put up there it is, thank you, WCTV. So that's the area shot. If there's the next slide, if you could. So right there was one of the proposals that was, really seemed to gain the most interest, was to really see if we could create more of a loop around. That was one of the solutions. A lot of the discussion was around, yes, sidewalks would help with safety, but it does nothing for the traffic backup and the, emergency vehicles not being able to get up through the streets should they need to. So it solves one, or potentially could solve one of the issues, but not the traffic in itself. So, there are plans. We had talked there that the Board of Ed is very aware of the situation. There are plans of expanding the school. Some suggestions that came up was revisiting the allocation of students between George and Washington to make sure that we're evenly distributing where the children go, to maybe relieve some of the compression at the school, at Washington School. This was a first of a couple of meetings I'm sure we're going to have in the very near future. And ultimately, this loop around you're seeing right here was the one that is really being sought after in multiple different opinions around this, how it can be made. That's a loop that comes in. They would drive around, changing the entrance and exit to the back. That was just one suggestion. I know that the school board has plans to expand, so we really are at the mercy of kind of figuring out and game planning with them. We are hopeful that the school board and the school, administration has some input or asks for some input from the town council and the mayor and our committee, so that we can really make sure that we've done our due diligence and we've been heard. Mr. Sears, is there anything you want to add to that before I pass it over to the mayor?
No, I think that the discussion was open. We had a lot of great ideas. We sort of keyed on the problem is the volume of cars and the volume of students within that area. Hopefully, in the next meeting, we'll have a clear understanding of what the school board plans to do for Washington School. I know Council President Desiree has a great idea. I'll hold off on that until we have our next meeting. But it was productive, and I think everybody there is concerned and they're looking for a solution. And I hope we can find a solution.
Yeah, and I think everyone walked away with the same idea that they felt really happy that they were part of the solution. They were part of the discussion, which it should always be that way. But they felt heard and like we're not just making decisions in a vacuum. So I know, Mayor, you said that you were going to follow up with, I'll let you speak to your opinion on how the meeting went.
Yes, this morning, because you put out your minutes of the meeting, I forget, either Friday or Saturday. I forwarded those to the acting superintendent this morning, asked that he distribute them where he thought necessary to either like a buildings and grounds committee, things like that.
Great.
However, he reminded me that his acting term hopefully is up July 1st, and that's when the regular superintendent will be back. So he said, listen, I'd like to promote it, but I'm only here for a limited amount of time. So he suggested that, we wait until the superintendent is back, because she'll have more ongoing, but he was going to submit it to that committee.
Okay.
And, we'll get input from them, at least an initial opinion as to what they think will work. And like I said in the meeting, we're also trying to get a meeting with the engineer and the police to discuss all the ideas and kind of rank them in, different things of, hey, this can work quicker or better or like that, and then we'll have a subsequent meeting of the whole committee.
Okay, and did you get a chance to reach out to Mr. Romano, or who was it that you were supposed to reach out to? The administrator, the business administrator.
Oh, Keith Rosado.
Rosado, yes, Rosado.
To go through proper chain, I let the acting administrator, he said he'll brief him on everything.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. So that's where we are with that. Okay, and then we can discuss now the financials. Review of RFQ submissions for auditor. We were going to, I don't know if you had an opportunity to look over the three that are in the packet. But we were going to, I have a motion for the one that I was looking, that I was most interested in. So.
Is it, oh, because I walked.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm
we're-
sorry.
yeah,
I missed that piece.
Well, it's okay. So actually, who is it? I think I was motioning to move forward with Wilcox.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Seems well qualified.
Yeah, if you look over, and the reason I thought this is if you look over his resume, there's a team of people, and that he's working with on his in his firm, and it is just they're all, every one of them, municipal and school budget auditor. So it just seems really to align with what we're looking for. So, Sue, can I have a roll call for?
So we're voting.
Well, the thing is
What
this,
do we- I'm sorry.
there's, I just want to let you know, there's four of you, okay? So 3 will carry, less than 3 will not carry, and you are missing 1 council person, so just so you know. Okay? And if that vote doesn't carry, you can go to another candidate, have a vote on that, and a third candidate, have a vote on that,
And so on.
and so on and so on.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, are we discussing it or are we
You
just
can
voting?
Well,
Well, there's already a
Yeah,
motion.
Yeah.
You can discuss.
You
You can discuss.
You can still discuss.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I can insist
I
on
didn't
that.
know if there was a discussion
Yeah,
already.
No,
No, we can do anything with it.
Yeah,
if you come back.
Oh,
the
okay.
motion is
Thank you.
second, now you can have discussion.
We skipped to the third, to the sidewalk until you came back.
Okay.
Is there a discussion on that?
I mean, sorry, I'm just gathering my papers. I'm just wondering why we are looking to walk away from Larch Vinci. They have been with us for quite some time. I know some of the locations where they conduct business, and those other locations are pleased. Speaking to some of their other clients.
So I don't necessarily think we're walking away. They weren't with us for that long. We had Lou May when I first got here, I think in 2020, right? 2020, we had Lou May for the audit.
1 year.
Yeah, for 1 year.
But all the other times was Vinci's firm.
Was Vinci's, okay.
And then they've been the auditors for 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah, and I just think at this point, I'd like to have fresh eyes, like somebody else looking at it, which is also why I didn't suggest Lou May. I just feel like give this person an opportunity to, see what they can do. And if it turns out that we're not happy, we can always go back, next year or whatever. But I think that's why I'm more comfortable giving a fresh set of eyes here. And I love their experience, and I love the team of people, the amount of people that they have. They seem they'll be super responsive. I know that was an issue at one point in 2020 or 2019, whatever that was.
With Lou May, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking Wilcox.
Okay.
If I may, Council President?
Yeah.
I have known Lurch Finchie for a very long time. They have been dedicated to the township. During my first term as councilman, they have actually opened doors for us to find out where financial opportunities for the council through trust funds and things like that we never knew before. They've been dedicated to this town. They have almost the same amount of leadership as the other company. So I feel loyalty to this company, not to just turn away from them. I understand you want to see a fresh set of eyes, but I don't know what else they could find that Lurch Vinci hasn't found in all these years, and always has come through and has always come to the council at the end. They were always invited to give their opinion. So I understand what you're saying, but I think loyalty means a lot to me, and Lurch Vinci has done a lot for this town. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, I might as well weigh in. It comes down to a very simple concept. You can't have someone running your books also auditing your books because you don't have independent and objective set of criteria. I don't care how loyal someone is, it just isn't there. I'm not saying that any company is incapable of doing it, but I think there's a conflict of interest. And yes, Vince has been doing it forever. That's true. But you have to remember, they overlooked a lot of things that Mr. Mai had found that never came to their attention for whatever reason. And that was eye-opening. So I think for 1 year, it wouldn't hurt. You know, it could only be a benefit. And if we really are dissatisfied, that's why it's a yearly contract. If we're dissatisfied with it, we can always go back. I mean, there were things that they missed on our sheet. And again, this is the same auditor that's doing the accounting that they missed for numerous years. Again, everyone misses stuff, but I have an issue with the same person doing checking their own work. I wouldn't give my kids in school to check their own test, and wouldn't give it to the town to do either.
Right.
It's a big responsibility.
And that's what I thought as well. That's my feeling as well. And I do think fresh set of eyes, you know, when you see something over and over and over, it becomes like wallpaper. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but that's what I'm saying. If you have, you know, if you have a fresh set of eyes on it, just to get a perspective from a different company.
Even if the roles were reversed, okay, and Will Cox or May was ours, I wouldn't have them do our own thing either.
Correct.
It wouldn't matter who it is. I would
Right.
not have the same company looking over their own work. Because
Right.
it doesn't work.
I agree with that. That's
It doesn't work.
my thoughts on that as well. All right, so I'll put the motion. If you guys don't approve it, then you can, you know, come up with your motion. And then if we don't approve it and we can't come together, we'll just have to talk about it.
We'll wait
Yeah.
till you
There's
have
a-
5 people.
Yeah, but we'll see what we could do.
I'm
for
just
now.
saying, if you can't.
Yeah. Yep. So my motion is for Wilcox Company. Is there a second?
I second it.
There was already a second.
Okay. So roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No.
Councilwoman Velez,
No,
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, is there a second one? Does anyone want to motion someone?
I'll
else?
motion for Lurch Vinci.
I'll second it.
And go through the same thing. All right, Sue, roll call.
Rich Vinci and second. Councilman Casio,
No.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes,
Council President Morgan.
No.
Yeah.
All righty.
It's the first one.
Yeah, we'll have to wait until, we tried, I mean, you know.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's all, we're
Yeah.
trying.
That's okay.
All right, so it'll pop on back for the next meeting if you could. Yeah, June 7th, yes.
Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry,
No,
No,
no.
that's fine.
Camera.
Council President?
Yes.
One thing on the miscellaneous, if I ask.
Sure.
Could we schedule the street sweeper not to come when there's collection, like the paper on
Recycling?
Tuesdays, yeah,
Oh.
recycling? Because if you go down, you look down Beach Street, it's like this.
Oh, because they're going
Yeah.
around what's in the,
Right.
okay.
Is there a way that we can schedule where people's debris is not out in the street?
Yes.
Because basically, it didn't do anything. The street sweeping
Defeats
didn't
the
really do
purpose.
anything. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. DeCarlo, did we get a notice when they're coming? a day or a week?
I don't think we do, but
I think Bill does in DPW. I think
Oh,
they
do
know.
we get notice? Like,
Do we get notice that they're coming Tuesday, the 26th?
Yes, I thought.
Okay,
I'm
as the-
sorry,
as the
I meant
town.
Residents, no, it's.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
we know.
maybe in the future, if we have our nixle or reverse call, say, we're coming, we got street sweeping coming down on Thursday, the 28th or whatever. Maybe we can get that out to them, say, and please don't park on the street during the day so we can get a complete street sweeping. Just an idea,
Yeah.
so we
Especially
can do
on
something like that.
recycling and debris. because-
Any day, there's,
And you look, it looks like
I don't
nothing
think,
was
I
done.
think it takes them almost a week to do all the streets.
Right.
And I don't know that we can narrow it down by day to say they're going to be in this zone this day, but if we.
But if we could say a week,
in
okay, this week
general,
they're
right.
coming, try
Right.
not to
Yeah.
park during the day between hours X and Z,
Well, maybe just leave your recycling at the end of your driveway, not in the
Yeah.
street.
Leave your keys in the car, we'll
I've
move
seen
the
the
car for you.
recycling people, they don't necessarily put it back, they'll leave it in the
Right.
street
That's
sometimes.
true too.
You know,
Like the
But
garbage
we'll,
cans,
we'll,
too.
we'll see what we can do. It's a
Okay.
good question.
All right.
And Council President, I think I ask this question every year, and it was brought up by someone. If we, or you as the council want the auditor here next Monday, do you want us to reach out to someone? You want to have Sue reach out to them, see if they can come since it's budget adoption?
Yeah, that would be great. So, yeah, that would be great, actually. Thank you.
You want us to?
If you could, yeah,
Oh, okay.
that would be great. Also, I would like to recommend that we move forward with what Mr. Ferrara had mentioned about the auditor coming to a meeting annually to give his findings at a public meeting. Is that something we can do? Have him do it? Okay. Can we make sure that that happens? I'd like to move forward with that. I thought that was a really great idea. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Excuse me, would they be coming as the auditor or they're coming as the accounting firm?
For next week?
I'm just saying, when we ask.
Oh, no, it's the auditor. It's
Okay.
the auditor. So next
Okay.
week is just because we're going to introduce the,
Because as
pass the budget.
because if you're coming, if he's as an auditor, the council gets to call him. If he's coming as the accounting firm, the administration will have to do that.
Okay,
So,
okay. So then Sue, we can put that together, that for the
We do it,
auditor.
yeah, when they come in
When
and do
they-
their audit and when they go to do the recommendations and findings before you adopt it and all that. good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, you know,
Okay, great.
surely.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Have a good night.
we'll close.